go by, but the memory stays. And those were the good old days.
Thank you so much for going down memory lane. Let me take you back and tell you a story about the computer wars. My cousin Ronnie, as I said in the previous videos about my cousin Ronnie, Fidge, going to the playlist archives into the vaults, and the very first memory lane video there in the first playlist, the very first playlist there of the memory lane, in the very first video, Ice and Sled Mishaps, and a little bit about Ronnie going down the hill there at Oak Knoll Park called Dr. Death. Also, you'll learn more about Ronnie in later vids throughout the memory lane first 200 videos, memory lane archives. If you go into the first playlist archives, listen to them, you'll learn more about Ronnie throughout the course of those videos. My pen pal is another one that you'll know a little bit about Ronnie. But anyway, nonetheless, Ronnie, when I was introduced to the whole internet thing, Ronnie had wanted to get on the internet, and when I lost my job at Docos in 1999, when Docos had closed its doors and went out of business, my cousin Ronnie had decided that since I was just getting a little bit of money here and there for unemployment, my cousin Ronnie decided that he was going to go ahead and pay the internet to keep the internet on, because Ronnie was involved in trying to get all these girls, and Ronnie was working Wendy's at the time working Hardee's at the time during the day, and Wendy's for a couple hours during the evening. And Ronnie likes to clean tables, maybe do some sweeping and mopping or whatever he had to do. Ronnie, was 4 foot tall as Ronnie was. He would just, do whatever they expected him to do, and it wasn't, really that much. But it was a job for Ronnie. But anyway, Ronnie would come home at night there at about 11 o'clock, between 11 and midnight. We lived on First Street, southeast there, First and Oak, southeast there, right there on the corner of First and Oak, so to speak, right across the street from where the old high school used to be there in Massillon. The auditorium, the swimming pool thing, I guess, would still be there unless they ripped that down. I haven't been there in a while, but anyway, you get an idea of possibly where I might be, those of you reviewing this for the Massillon area. Anyway, nonetheless, Ronnie would come home, and I was talking to a girl that I'd met, started chatting to, named Becky Thompson, and Becky and I had been chatting for a couple of years. This is probably like 99, early 2000. Ronnie, had failed, or had thought that since he had bought the internet, had been paying for the internet, that he would come home and immediately get on. Because Ronnie and I shared a room, for a while. We lived up on Oak Avenue, up the road on Oak Avenue, the house that my mom had inherited after my papa, Lowell, and Grandma Idaho had passed. She owned there, and that's just a story I'm not going to get really into. I believe I went down memory lane about it. I'm not quite sure if I did. I don't remember. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm not going to go into that. But my cousin Ronnie figured that when he got home, he immediately jumped on the internet as soon as he got home. Becky, we engaged. We talked for a couple of years. Becky and I engaged in some phone conversation that very tasteless, I should say, and shame on me for thinking or for even doing it. But I won't go into full details of that for all you horn dogs that may be wondering. I ain't going to go into that. But anyway, we did some things that was a little tasteless, if you will. But Becky would call me. We were trying to engage in a long distance relationship, so to speak. And she would call me, and we'd talk and stuff, and everything when she got home from doing what she had to do. And she had gotten involved with a guy named Scott, and pretty much threw me aside, which, long distance relationship don't work. And it just doesn't, not at all. Anyway, nonetheless, Ronnie had gotten real angry many times that he'd come home, and I'd talk to Becky for 2 hours or whatever it was, and she would call me, and I would talk to her for a couple hours. When Ronnie got home, he was angry. Are you gonna get off the phone? I'm fucking pissed. I'm pissed off. And he would get on the phone, and he would he would be mad and everything. But Ronnie would get on there, and he'd be like, "Do you like short guys? Would you ever date a short man?" I'm short. I have short hair. And Ronnie would always go into the lesbian chat rooms and wanted to go on there and download porn. I had a lot of porn in my old computer of mine. most of it was for Ronnie, and Ronnie didn't know, what it was to go in there and chat, and then figure, say, well, and he always say, my brother said, so he acted like he didn't know what he's doing, so I had to step in there and show him how it was done, and needless to say, Ronnie got a little more pics in there than he wanted to, and he done what he had to do. He talked to a girl named, what was that girl's name? I can't remember her name. But anyway, she kind of blew Ronnie off and everything like that. We kind of made a dummy account up, saying she said she was bisexual, she wanted to become a lesbian, and all this other great crap. But the computer wars were Ronnie had really, he would snap on me if I was on a computer too long, or he'd come home and I was on a computer or on the phone, and I wasn't on a computer, and I was just the computer wars. I mean, he was constantly. I mean, he thought since he paid the internet that he needed to be on the computer whenever he wanted to. And I'll never forget that, the computer wars. But there was a time where Ronnie was on the computer and I was outside chit-chatting with, or just outside looking, sitting down on the porch out there, and he'd come in, Roger, what? Come here, quick. I'd go in, I went in there, and the monitor was smoking. The monitor was smoking really bad, and the monitor was sparking, and I told him to shut the computer down, quick. And we had to buy a new monitor, but it was real funny. You had to see the face, Roger, come here, quick, Ronnie, come here, the computer's on fire. It was funny. But the computer wars, Ronnie and I got in a lot of arguments about who was supposed to be on a computer at the right time. And I had a lot more people I chatted to than he did. But anyway, nonetheless, it was definitely a war between me and Ronnie over the computer and the internet. Maybe this is a pointless video, but just a memory lane moment that I remember. Thank you so much for going down memory lane with me. I'll catch you next time.